Marcus, have you ever said Candyman 5 times in a mirror?
Absolutely not. I don't even say Bloody Mary 3 times. I'm not summoning anything.
What if someone dared you? What if it was for money?
Then I take the L. Some money isn't worth the risk of being murdered by a hook-handed ghost.
Welcome back to What If It's Real, where we test urban legends you should probably leave alone. I'm Riley.
And I'm Marcus. Today we're asking, what if you stood in front of a bathroom mirror, said Candyman 5 times, and he actually appeared?
Candyman is unique among urban legends because he has a real backstory. He was Daniel Robitaille, a black artist in the 1890s who fell in love with a white woman. When her father found out, a mob tortured him, cut off his hand, covered him in honey, and let bees sting him to death.
They called him Candyman as he died. And according to legend, his spirit lives on, appearing to anyone who says his name 5 times while looking in a mirror.
He comes with a hook for a hand, the hand they took from him, and he kills those who summon him, but also keeps their story alive. He exists because people believe in him.
So this isn't just say the name and die. There's tragedy here. There's injustice. Candyman is both victim and monster.
Which makes him more complicated than most legends we've covered. So let's set the scene. You're standing in front of a bathroom mirror. Maybe it's a dare. Maybe you're testing the legend. Maybe you're just curious.
And you say it. Candyman, 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 Candyman.
What happens next?
In the movies, he appears behind you in the mirror. You see him before you hear him. Tall, wearing a long coat, a hook where his right hand should be, bees circling around him.
And the room gets cold. You smell honey. You hear buzzing.
And then he's not just in the mirror anymore. He's in the room with you.
So what's your first move? You've summoned him. He's here. What do you do?
You run immediately. You don't talk to him. You don't try to reason with him. You just get out of that room.
But here's the question. Can you outrun him? He's a spirit. He doesn't follow normal physical rules.
The legend says he appears in mirrors, so your first instinct should be get away from reflective surfaces. No mirrors, no windows, no water, no shiny objects.
Because as long as there's a reflection, he can use it as a doorway. He can appear anywhere there's a mirror.
Which means your bathroom, your bedroom, your car, anywhere with a reflective surface is dangerous.
So you run to a room with no mirrors, maybe a closet, a pantry, somewhere dark with no reflections.
But does that actually stop him, or does it just slow him down?
That's the terrifying part. The rules aren't clear. Some versions say he's bound to mirrors. Others say once summoned, he's free to hunt you anywhere.
This is our first revelation. Candyman's legend has variations. The story changes depending on who's telling it, which means if he's real, we don't actually know all the rules.
So you're operating on incomplete information. You know he's been summoned, you know he has a hook, you know he kills, but you don't know his limitations.
Which means you have to assume the worst. Assume he can follow you anywhere. Assume mirrors give him power but aren't his only method. Assume he won't stop until he's finished what he came to do.
Okay, so you're hiding in a room with no mirrors. Can you call for help?
Who do you call? The police? Hi, I summoned the ghost with a hook hand and now he's trying to kill me.
They'll think you're on drugs or having a mental health crisis. At best, they'll send someone to check on you. At worst, they'll ignore you.
But you should call anyway, because even if they don't believe you, if something happens to you, there's a record, there's a timestamp, there's evidence you were in distress.
Okay, but practically speaking, the police can't help you with a ghost. So what can you actually do?
You need to understand why he kills. In the legend, Candyman kills those who summon him to keep his story alive. He exists because people fear him. If people stop believing, he disappears.
So he's not just killing for revenge. He's killing to maintain his legend. Every death reinforces the story. Every victim becomes proof that he's real.
Which means he needs you to die publicly. He needs your death to be mysterious, horrifying, unexplainable. That's how the legend spread.
So if you can survive without anyone knowing what happened, you've broken the cycle. You've denied him the story he needs.
But how do you survive? Let's explore options.
Option 1. You try to communicate with him. He was human once. He was wronged. Maybe you can appeal to that humanity.
That's a huge risk. He's been a vengeful spirit for over a century. Whatever humanity he had might be long gone.
But it's worth trying, right? You say, I know what happened to you. I know you were murdered unjustly. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disrespect you.
And maybe he pauses. Maybe for just a moment he remembers who he was. Or maybe it just makes him angrier. Maybe bringing up his death triggers more rage.
So communication is unpredictable. What's option 2?
Option 2, you find someone who knows the legend intimately. Someone who studied Candyman, who knows the history, who might know things that aren't in the popular version.
So you reach out, you find someone who can help, and you ask, how do you stop him?
And maybe they tell you, you can't. Once summoned, he finishes what he started. The only question is whether you're his victim or whether he chooses someone else.
Wait, he can choose someone else?
In the films, Candyman sometimes offers a choice. Be my victim or become like me. Join him as a spirit, spreading fear and death.
That's not a real choice. That's die or become a monster.
Right, so you refuse both, which brings us to option 3, you break the belief.
What does that mean?
Candyman exists because people believe in him. He's sustained by fear, by stories, by people saying his name. So what if you publicly debunk him?
You go online, you post about how you said his name 5 times and nothing happened. You make it look like the legend is fake.
It's a gamble. Either it weakens him by reducing belief, or it enrages him because you're trying to erase him.
This is our second revelation. Candyman's power is tied to belief. He's not just a ghost, he's a tulpa, a thought form sustained by collective fear.
Which means, theoretically, if everyone stopped believing, he'd cease to exist. But getting everyone to stop believing in a legend is almost impossible.
Especially if he's actively killing people to prove he's real.
So debunking is risky. What's option 4?
Option 4. You survive long enough that he gets bored or moves on. You make yourself a difficult target.
How do you do that?
You stay in public places, you surround yourself with people, you avoid being alone, especially in places with mirrors.
And you cover every reflective surface you encounter. You carry tape or cloth, and you cover mirrors, windows, anything that could serve as his doorway.
You essentially make yourself inaccessible. No privacy, no isolation, no reflections.
That's exhausting. How long can you maintain that?
As long as it takes, days, weeks, however long until he gives up or finds another target.
But here's the dark reality. He might not give up. He might be patient. He might wait for you to slip up.
And eventually, you will slip up. You'll get tired. You'll let your guard down. You'll forget to cover one mirror.
And that's when he appears.
So, is there any permanent solution? Any way to actually end this?
The legend suggests that Candyman can only be stopped by someone willing to take his place. Someone who dies in his stead and becomes the new legend.
That's horrifying. You defeat him by becoming him.
It's not really defeating him, it's a transfer of curse. The story continues, just with a new face.
I refuse to accept that's the only option. There has to be another way.
Then, you'd need to address the original injustice. His murder was never avenged. His story was never acknowledged. Maybe if that wrong was somehow righted.
He could find peace. His spirit could rest.
But how do you right a wrong from the 1890s? The people who killed them are long dead. The systems that allowed it still exist in different forms.
So you can't fix it, which means he can't be put to rest, which means anyone who summons him is at risk.
This is our third revelation. Some spirits can't be reasoned with because the injustice that created them is too deep to repair.
Candyman isn't just angry about his death. He's angry about everything that death represents. Racism, violence, systemic injustice. You can't solve that in time to save yourself.
So what's the actual survival advice here?
You don't say his name. That's step 1. Don't summon him in the first place.
But we're past that. You've already said it. He's already been summoned. What now?
You get away from mirrors immediately. You go somewhere public. You surround yourself with people.
You document everything. You tell people what you did and what's happening. Make noise. Be seen.
And you research. You find people who know the legend. You look for loopholes, for weaknesses, for anything that might help.
You also prepare for the worst. You tell someone you trust what happened. You give them information so that if something happens to you, the story is recorded.
Because, ironically, recording your story might be what keeps Candyman interested. He wants to be remembered. If your story serves that purpose, maybe he lets you live to tell it.
That's manipulative, but it might work. I'll spread your legend. I'll tell everyone what you are and what happened to you. But I need to be alive to do it.
You're negotiating with a ghost using his own need for belief against him.
It's clever. It might buy you time, but it also means you're complicit. You're helping spread the fear that sustains him.
So you're choosing survival over morality. You're keeping the legend alive to save yourself.
And that's the true horror of Candyman. He makes you part of the problem. Every person who survives him does so by ensuring someone else will eventually say his name.
This is our 4th revelation. Candyman's legend is a cycle. Survivors become storytellers. Storytellers create new victims, and the cycle continues.
You can survive, but you can't stop the legend. You can only pass it on.
That's bleak. So the best advice is genuinely, don't start the cycle.
Don't say the name. And if you must tell the story, tell it as a warning, not as a dare. Make it clear that summoning him isn't brave or fun. It's dangerous and potentially fatal.
Okay, let's do the recap. The official Candyman survival guide.
Step 1. Don't say his name 5 times in a mirror. Just don't. This isn't a test worth taking.
Step 2. If you've already summoned him, get away from reflective surfaces immediately. Cover mirrors, avoid windows, stay away from water.
Step 3. Go somewhere public. Surround yourself with people. Don't be alone, especially not in dark or isolated places.
Step 4. Research the legend. Find people who know the story intimately. Look for variations, loopholes, anything that might help.
Step 5. Try communication carefully. Acknowledge his story, his injustice, his humanity. It might not work, but it's worth attempting.
Step 6. Offer to be a storyteller instead of a victim. Promise to keep his legend alive if he spares you. Use his need for belief as leverage.
Step 7. Document everything. Tell people what happened. Create a record so that if something happens to you, there's evidence.
And Step 8. If you survive, tell the story as a warning, not a dare. Don't encourage others to summon him. Break the cycle.
The key takeaway, Candyman is sustained by belief and empowered by tragedy. You can't kill him, you can't defeat him, but you might be able to negotiate survival.
He's a cautionary tale about injustice, about how violence echoes through generations, about how some wrongs can never fully be righted.
That's it for this episode of What If It's Real? Next time, we're asking, what if you saw a tall, faceless figure in a suit standing at the edge of the woods, watching you?
We're covering Slender Man, the internet legend that became terrifyingly real for some people. He doesn't speak, he doesn't need to. He just watches and follows and eventually takes you.
The question is, how do you survive something that exists because people believe in it? Sounds familiar. It should, but Slender Man has his own rule.
Spoiler, don't look at him, don't acknowledge him, and whatever you do, don't let him know you're afraid. See you next time.